Hey guys, it's the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast with Kevin and Aisha, and we have a few special guests in the building. It's the Buhr.
Hey.
Hello. So Kevin and I have known the Buhrs for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. 8 years.
It'll be 8 years this year.
8 years, almost a decade.
It's a long time.
And I heart them.
It's an anniversary.
And they married and do real estate and stuff. So
like us.
So we thought we'd get a little bit of their story, their marriage and real estate story. So welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We're happy to be here.
Really nice.
You want me? You want to
say
kick to
something.
me? I was just waiting on you.
I mean, I can.
No. So welcome, since you took all the beginning. And if you want to tell the audience a little bit more about yourselves, introduce yourselves formally, and then your backgrounds, and then how we met, and we can kind of just chop it up from there.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, my name is Chelsea Arnold Buhr, and I'm married to Brian Buhr, but I guess that's an intro that I shouldn't do yet. I'm in real estate. I currently have the title of a private lender and a loan servicer and a private money underwriter as my current title, but I've worn many hats in this industry, and those are my main ones at the current moment. So kick it to you.
Yeah. So we kind of got into this kind of by accident because we met each other at Toastmasters.
We did.
And we all had jobs from another industry.
We did.
And, now look at us. And so you guys are crushing it. We're excited that we were able to make the leap too. We quit our job on the same day, but we do private lending predominantly. We've over the past year started investing into apartments, a few different oil and gas, royalty type, things.
That's exciting.
I don't know what I'm doing. We just decided let's just try it. But overall, it's been really good because through Chelsea helps services the loans, underwrite them. That's something I don't like to do. I'm not a paper guy. I like just meeting people and networking, and it's been a good working relationship between the both of us. And so, that's pretty much that in a nutshell.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about marriage and real estate is that people generally think that real estate is like flippings, particularly when you first start off, right? And I think we've all had our fair share of starting off flipping, and we ain't like it. And so we decided to do other things that were also easier money and probably more lucrative. Not that people aren't very successful at flipping, and it's a great start. And in my opinion, some of the L's are the best lessons that we take in real estate. We're fortunate enough that we kind of started this real estate journey, I'd like to say, together.
Yeah, I mean,
and we still
technically we all had aspirations of getting into real estate when we were working our jobs. And it was kind of like when, right? It was like, what are we doing? How do we figure it out? And you guys were honestly the first couple that had the same aspirations as us at the same time. So y'all saw us all the way from the inception back to, Toastmasters and figuring it out. And hey, we think we want to get into this. We think we want to try this stuff. And we're going to work every day hoping that we can eventually at some point get into it. So what made you guys choose real estate as something you want to get into?
Well, it started originally so I was a teacher for 10 years and Brian worked in medical sales, and he had a couple of rental properties. When I first met him, he had just purchased his first one. I think he closed probably a week or a month before. And I saw him renovating and just kind of getting ready to put a tenant in the house. And so that's when I started learning about rentals and understanding that part of the industry. I would go to a lot of the meetings with him just to learn different things at different organizations. And finally, we acquired a few more rentals from there, but we realized, we're not going to keep working this 9 to 5. Eventually, we ended up, I think it was after we quit the job, we sold all the rentals. Yeah.
At one point, I was like, I had good tenants too. And I was like, I just want to sell everything because I think I want to move to California.
And we didn't
Did you really want to move to California?
We went to San Diego, and I was like, we are in the right spot. Turns out we're in the right spot. This is a better market.
Thank God.
And we didn't like being landlords. That was the main thing for us. We didn't like being landlords and that responsibility.
Well, yeah, it was always a tie. Like someone always had a connection to you, and I was so used to having so many phone calls per day. I was like, I gotta stop answering my phone. Like it was driving me nuts. And tenants they called me up. I had one guy, hey, let's hang out. Which would never,
No, I had to learn that lesson. Look, we were sending birthday cards, and
I was like, Kevin, stop hanging out.
Yeah,
with the
she was
tenants,
like,
bro.
this is not going to be good for like when people are late on their rent or when you need to evict people.
If there's too many feelings, you have to like not have feelings in business mix, especially with your real estate. And honestly, I don't even like to rent to family or friends because I'm like, it's just the business. And so you might fall on hard times, and that's super unfortunate, but also somebody got to pay this mortgage, you know?
Right.
And this is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it makes it less awkward.
Exactly.
For sure.
And then from there, I got my real estate license.
Mm-hmm.
I left my job and became a realtor full time. And it was great. I did well with it. I did it for about 3 years strong. And he on the side, I'll let you tell what you were doing while I was realtoring. You did that one flip and then then you were trying to wholesale.
Yeah. So I don't know who's going to see this, so I'll just keep it. I did one flip, figured out like I was, when I did a flip, I was involved in the work. Like I was out there painting. And
you were dedicated.
This is dumb. And I did that one. I realized I'm not good at that. I'm not good at managing crews. You're great at managing crews, both you guys. So I was terrible at it. Nobody listened to me. So I was, and then I still had majority of my money at that time, like in the market, stock market. And then we took a gigantic loss. My dad was he was a financial planner. And so he was like, I needed cash flow because like we both quit our job. And he's like, do this, do that. And then we took a big substantial loss within 3 months.
Oh, damn.
And Chelsea didn't know this because she was upstairs. I'm downstairs, but like, she'd be like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's good. And then I'm like, we just lost a lot of it.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for it to recover. And then we exited out completely. And that's when we started going to more networking events and met someone who's like, well, look, if the market is inconsistent and it's erratic, and start lending. And I was like, well, what is lending? He's like, that's when, we went down that road, and it's been a game changer. But it also allowed me to have enough freedom to where I could start exploring and learning, the building process, which I love watching and, following people that know how to build correctly. And then apartments is a great avenue too, for cash flow, for appreciation, especially with inflation. Everything rises to the top with inflation.
Yep.
Apartments. But yeah, that's where we're at.
So you said, and I'm gonna just pull this little nugget out. You said you started going to networking events and to events. So tell me, if somebody was brand new to real estate, what's the first thing you would tell them to do in the industry? Because the one thing I know we hear all the time is like, if you don't have money, you should wholesale. And raise your hand if you tried to wholesale before.
I had a sticker on my car.
Boom.
He did.
Yeah.
And I was like, why?
It is not like it. I don't know. Tell us about your wholesale experience for all of the people.
Yeah.
If there's any good stuff, sprinkle that in there too, because there are people who are killing it as wholesalers. So in no shape, form, or fashion are we saying that wholesale is not a good deal. But like, what's the experience like for a new wholesaler? And then also, how has networking or putting yourself in the same room with people who do real estate helped you guys?
Yeah. So wholesaling, if you are very good with technology and like leads, like internet stuff, I would say I went the mailer route and I got slaughtered. I spent probably $15,000, got one phone call, and then it was in Spanish. But obviously I don't speak Spanish, so I had to let that one fly.
You might.
But but there are people that are really good at successful, and there's people that have more money in that arena where they just outspent me for that customer, and I just couldn't compete with it. So, but yeah, I'm not a good wholesaler.
I'll say this though, you had the best logo around.
Everybody clowns me for that.
Bro, that logo was the best logo.
Kevin liked the logo.
I have to say, man, you made it look good.
He always liked the logo.
No calls, but you made it
Everyone
look
just clowns me on that guy.
Listen, we lost probably, I think it was like $2,000 in mailers, and I said never again.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was a lot of money at the time, like $2,000. I was like,
oh,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh, hold on, what?
We're hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So your network and how you came to where you were, because obviously when we first started in real estate, we did the basic stuff. We're like, oh, we want to flip. Oh man, we got a wholesale. How did your, trajectory change based on the information that you received from the people around you?
I think it was we needed cash flow bad. That was killing us because you still have expenses at the end of every single month. And that was the first thing that could pay immediately. And it was also secured by something where the stock market, it was, if you're lucky to get a quarterly distribution or dividend, and then it goes back into your stock account. You got to withdraw it and then pay taxes and all those things. So that's why we kind of went towards lending initially. But for somebody that's just starting out, going to events, meeting people, and consistently, you got to have, honestly, you got to have some type of cash saved up and reserved. If it's a good deal, you'll get 100% financing. There's people that will do it. But for the most part, you're going to have something, in my opinion. I would say 50 is a really good start. But I don't know, maybe people can start with less. I don't know. But
yeah. What's your favorite thing about working in real estate, Chels?
The freedom.
Amen.
The freedom, just being able to, in the middle of the day, come here with you guys today. Just being able to dictate my own schedule. That's probably has been the best thing about freedom. I'm sorry, about being in real estate, that I can say for sure.
The interesting thing is, and we talk a lot about our journey and kind of, Aisha calls it pivot instead of panic, right? So you guys have had a very similar trajectory from quitting your jobs at the same time to all the bumps in the road of like, hey, we lost money here. This doesn't necessarily work. We got to try something different here. You were a full-time realtor, and then you're like, all right, this is a lot of work, and maybe I want to do something different. So even though you guys might be in a different arena than we were, because, we were flipping and whatever, and then we went to straight building because it's like, oh, this doesn't make money or whatever. Everybody has that journey, right? Like it's all a rocky road until it starts to get a little bit smoother. So now that the road is a little bit smoother, you're trying different things, but you're always learning and adjusting. What has been your kind of underlying philosophy the whole way, right? Like if you say, okay, we just got to make this real estate thing work, what have been the kind of, if this, then when, right? Like if we can make whatever our monthly goals are, then this strategy works. So we like this ease of use. We like this freedom. We like this, whatever. Kind of what has been your litmus test for strategies that work for you and strategies that don't?
I'd say one thing about Brian and I is our mindset is so strong that, to be honest with you, when we both left those jobs, losing and drowning, that wasn't an option. That wasn't an option at all. That's so real. What am I going to do to win this? What do I need to do? And if this isn't working, okay, I haven't lost yet, but I'm going to find another way to get even higher and figure out what I need to do that I'm going to be happy. But for both of us, that's just not an option. In my opinion, that's kind of how we literally talk to each other.
I think you and I talked about how new construction has been like the most guaranteed form of profit, because we've done flips and you're subject to the appraisal, right? It can come in low and kill everything you thought you were going to get out of the property.
Yeah.
But I like the new construction aspect too, because like with our house, when we first built the house, we kind of knew what our in capital gain would be if we lived in it for 2 years. We can take this tax free. What a great loophole in the system. And then like with some of the properties where you're building new construction now, and I was like, that's where it's at, I think, because aside from being bound by the city and how fast their permitting process goes, but outside of that, you have complete control over everything. You're not like with a flip, you don't know what's behind the walls,
what's the foundation,
how long it's going to take, how long
what kind of surprises lie behind the next step in this project.
The 212 tires that are going to be, inside.
That's right. Yeah.
So Kevin and I'm going to speak for the both of us. We really enjoy working together. What about you guys? Do you enjoy working with your spouse? And do you hear from other people like, oh man, I can't believe y'all work together.
How do you work together?
So awful. I'm like, this is great, y'all.
Yeah.
I like working. Yeah. I like working together. Yeah, we do. So we're not on top of each other. So that's great. And it's great because I know what's going on in the business at all times and vice versa. He knows what's going on over on my side of the business that I run. So we always know what's going on. And it's good. I like it. What do you think?
I don't have any problems with it.
You better not.
No,
I don't know. We spend so much time with each other, like Kevin and I feel like y'all do too. But one of the things that I admire about y'all's relationship, and let me know if I'm seeing this right from the outside looking in, like your time and your thing is like your thing. So I'm like, hey, Chels, you want to go to happy hour? And Chels like, oh no, Becca's not there, and Brian has soccer. And I know now that that's like a no-go. Like, this is Brian's space, and he's always doing this at this time in this space, and it's a respected space. You know what I mean? So there's no like fighting about it. It's just, I mean, maybe now, but it is.
Chelsea, the one thing about, so if there's something she wants to do, and I'm the same way because I'll just do it. And I know that maybe that's not a good, but she's like,
that's real.
She'll just like, I'm going to go. I'm like, and I'm not that I ever have any problem with it, but she's just like, I am my own individual. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And that's it. I'll hire somebody to come watch him if I need to. And I'm the same way, like with, if I have an idea in my head and she's like, oh, that's dumb. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go do it.
I'll tell you, the thing about the two of them is, and you told me this, y'all are both only children. So y'all very much have like I need my space.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. And also you respect each other's space because you grew up having your own like thing, right? So y'all come together and y'all have when somebody takes a stand, like I'm going to do what I want to do, I guess you can kind of respect it because.
So you want a sister wife? Because my wife belongs in your house. She want to do what she want to do.
That's not true.
Yes, you do. You're very much like an only child.
I bend all the time for Kevin. I do all kind of stuff I don't want to do because Kevin wants me to do it.
You make that sound crazy. Like, what kind of stuff are you doing?
No, not like that. I'm always considerate of how you'll feel about it. See, these guys be like, I don't care how she feel. I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'll be like, so really be not happy. Kevin really won't be happy with this. I probably should do it.
I was raised taking care of siblings and stuff. So for me, I'm always thinking about like what I have to do for everybody else. And I spend the majority of my time thinking that way, right? So I'm going through my like, I got to do this for this. I got to do this for this. I got to do, and I'm at the very, very bottom when I carve out my little time. So I have to learn
that's so
to.
Nice.
I mean, but it's not beneficial because you just end up ate up and then you
also
got to carve out time for yourself.
Then you have the expectation.
Resentment.
So here's the marital bliss of it all. And that is really the opposite of what I'm trying to say. Then he has the expectation that I do that, right? Like I put myself at the bottom and then I take care of like all the stuff, put everybody else above me. And we don't vibe.
No, because I'm always telling her, I was like, if you're taking care of me, if your time is dedicated to take care of me, and my time is dedicated to take care of you, we're both taken care of.
Yeah. Right.
That don't work.
He's crazy.
We each have to take care of ourselves and then come together for what we take care of.
Here's one of the things, if I could say, like, I am great at is seeing where people are going to be in like years ahead, right? And so I tell Chelsea this a lot. I said, Kevin and Isha are special because we met them in Toastmasters, and then how you guys have been able to leapfrog so quickly. And I was like, you guys, I mean, are going to be very influential in this marketplace. And
absolutely.
We're friends with you guys. I'm like, I just want to be along for the ride. Like, hey, I knew him.
I knew the T-shirts that said "Flippin' Texas."
Yeah, whenever he's like the mayor, you know.
Not the mayor.
We ain't gonna be the mayor. We can be much more effective.
You know what I mean? I'm mean, like, you know.
No, and I really appreciate that. Okay,
I'll take that.
Now that part.
Take
us on a ride on the helicopter, please.
Look,
no, y'all have really been instrumental in our success in what we do, and people see what Kevin and I do on social media. We just had the news segment today. Like we get all of this like rah-rah, but it is people. There's so many people behind us that like push this ship along, right? And we wouldn't be where we are today without the two of these people. So look at these faces and know if you like what the Sheltons are doing, like these guys were a piece of the power that propelled us to where we are today. So none of this real estate stuff is done by yourself, right? Even if it's a team sport, we just happen to be standing at the front of this team for this particular project, but y'all are powerhouses in your own right. Anybody that knows you sings your praises, and, you know, look them up on social media.
Well, one of the things I want to say is the best part about coming up from nothing with another couple is, right, you guys knew us before we had ever done a deal. You know what I mean? Before we knew what a deal looked like. So it takes a lot of faith to go forward in something that's unseen. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to buy this property in Beaumont. We're going to, whatever. And then it's really down to relationship. You know what I mean? Like that's the only difference maker, because a lot of people could sit in the room and go, I have an idea for, you know, whatever, but can't execute it. So you need everybody to not only believe in you, but get on board to execute, right? So, whether it's when you're doing a wholesale deal, you're like, hey, Kevin, how do I make this flyer, make this offer? And I'm like, yeah, let's make it happen. Right. Or, it's like, we're like, hey, look, we're trying to do this deal. Like, all right, well, how can I help? It is a team sport and it takes everybody, because a lot of times, sometimes you need somebody else's eyes on a deal, somebody else's opinion on something to save you from either making a mistake or know when you have an opportunity that you can't necessarily recognize, right? So truly your network is your net worth, because at the end of the day, by yourself, you're limited. You're very, very limited in what you can do. Like if you didn't have people to lend to, if you didn't have, bankers and stuff that helped make the deals happen, your ability to do what you do is very capped. And it's the same thing with us. Like, it's like building a house with no 2x4s. It's not possible. You know what I mean? So, this has been a hell of a journey.
Just a deal like where, Kevin, I was looking at different banks and you're like, hey, contact this guy, Kyle, over at Independent Bank. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, I've got this project. And Kyle was like, well, I know Kevin. Kevin's solid. We'll set up a credit line with you. And I was like, well, great, Kyle. We'll use this credit line to basically go build this property. Yeah. And so like that just quick little deal there was awesome. You ended up selling the thing. It was,
man.
Like inventing Anna. Yeah.
Oh, don't be basic.
So basic.
You can tell we're all on Netflix right now.
This is whiskey, so
we're gonna date this damn podcast.
Just go back to inventing Anna, and you can see how basic Ryan is. No, so these guys are what I like to call a quiet storm. But what is the pinnacle of success for you as a couple? Like, what does success
the
big
like?
Picture for you? Y'all have done some amazing things. You still do like super cool things, and only the people that are closest to you know about it. And but what does that look like? Like, if somebody would die to be in your shoes right now, and for y'all, it's just like, this is cool, but.
Chelsea, what do you?
I would say.
What do you think your success?
I would say us, because we are one. I would say my conversations with Brian all the time, it would be, what are we going to do to increase our cash flow this month? What are we going to do to increase the cash flow? That's always what we're trying to do.
That's your success?
That's what you always are trying to, like, what are we going to increase our cash flow?
So what's your number though? Where do you want to get to?
Nobody's got a number. Do you have a number?
Let's give me, everybody got a number.
It's like lifestyle. It's in my I don't have a number, I have a lifestyle. So I don't care what the number is. If my life sucks, F the number.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, so get this. When my dad was working with as a financial planner, he said people would come in there, right? High net worth individuals, 5 million to 10 million, but they had zero cash flow. And they're worried about every single day they're spending money that they, and I'm like, how? I was like, and I'm back in my head, I'm like, you got 5 million, 10 million, $15 million. How are you worried about ever being like, it's because they don't have any cash flow, and their financial planners are like, reinvest it, put it back in the market. And that's if it goes up. If it goes down like it is now, right?
You lose all your value. Oh, damn.
So, you may have a ton of money sitting in the bank, but if you don't necessarily know how to
you're just eating off on it. Yeah.
You're getting slowly going broke. But you go to your point, like cash flow is very, very important in real estate. Thank God we're all in it. But, we don't necessarily have a number. I just don't want to, I like the flexibility of time and being able to do things like just with my friends, and real estate has really provided the ability to do that and hang out and be with people that I want to be with. And drink on the job.
Drinking on the job is a perk.
Right. And I will say this, we have had this conversation actually recently. So we have our daughter, and she is 16 months old. And I guess you could say, technically, we waited later in our relationship and our lives to have our baby. And the fact that we waited, we're so happy, because at this point in our lives, when we did have her, we are able to spend so much time with her, and we're going to be able to watch her go to her school plays, and we're going to be able to be at home to build whatever projects we need to. And if we were still working where we were before, we probably we'd be so tired, or we wouldn't have the time to do it. And so for us, that's priceless, I'd say. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
We're like, 6 a.m., 5 a.m., working on weekends, trade shows, things like that. And like, you just don't have a life.
No.
Most of the guys that I grew up around, they were the second, third wife, fourth wife.
Really?
Well, because you're never home and you're in different cities. So you're just around people. You're
just burning. Yeah. No, it's funny. We went to Austin's graduation today, and it was at 12:30 or 11 in the daytime, right? So there was one kid's family that didn't show up, which I don't know the reason why.
I don't think that's why they didn't show up.
Well, I'm just saying it was sad that their family wouldn't be able to be there.
Yeah.
But it did feel really good to be able to be that flex. And like, we had paid for the cap and gowns for the class. Aww. So they gave us like this really special appreciation. And then the center director was like, when they didn't have the budget for cap and gowns, she's like, well, I know there's business owners, children go here. And it felt so good to have the ability to like, talking about nothing like that ain't
right.
But it made such an impact. You talk about 12 students in a kindergarten class, like, and I was like, oh man, okay, this is impactful. This is the benefit of the flexibility and the freedom and the financial benefit. You know what I mean? It's like you do get to live the kind of life of your choosing, which at the end of the day, we all just wanted a little bit more than what we had when we started. You know what I mean? Like when we were back at Toastmasters, then it's 6 o'clock and we done worked all day and you're in scrubs and you just finished with students. And you're like, I'm done with these. And you're at a class, you're like, I'm done with this. And I'm like, I just got off a plane building something. We just wanted a little bit more. And now that we have one life, we get to spend more time together. We get to roll the dice however we choose to. So if we want to go to lunch in the middle of the day, if we want to go on a vacation, whenever we want to go on a vacation, we have that ability. And that almost makes it all worth it. All the struggle, all the pivot, all the everything. So I guess for me, being able to spend the time with people like you guys, that's the life, right? Like how we get there, that can change on a day-to-day, right? Like we'll do a project here, we'll do a project there. But at the end of the day, it's really about controlling the time.
Right.
So as we close, if there was a married couple out there who was watching this podcast and they both have jobs and they want to get into real estate and they have dreams of grandeur and ambition, what would you say to that couple? Like, hey, I want to be in real estate like y'all.
Get your job together.
No, don't do that.
We don't recommend
do
that.
Y'all think they've heard us say that enough.
Don't do that. I would say the one thing that we have talked about through this entire episode is networking and consistency. And yes, consistently go to networking events because number one, you're going to see the same faces and you're going to get familiar with people and you're going to develop relationships. 2, you're going to learn what everyone does. And so you're going to learn there's different elements to real estate and you didn't even know about. And you're going to learn different areas and you're going to say, oh, I want to go into this area or I want to go into this area. And so just the consistency with the networking. One thing that I've told people in the past is go to like Eventbrite, type in real estate and tons of things will pop up and you can find a place to go and just be consistent with it and start there.
Yeah. I think it's important if the couple's going to go into real estate, one person first, somebody else keep the job for financing because you're going to need a W-2 at least, right? You're going to have to do that.
See, we talk about this all the time. We call it the stabilizer and the igniter, right? Because we quit our jobs at the same time and it's trash. It's absolute trash.
Yeah, so it's funny. We contacted her. We were trying to buy a house for her, like a rental house, right? Good credit, cash in the bank. And she still couldn't get a loan.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and that's
somebody's got to be on paper paying the mortgage.
Right.
Until it makes sense for the other person to jump ship. But you got to like plan, right? Like, okay, who's gonna go first, right? And who's going to hold it down? And it really has to be a real agreement because you don't want anybody resenting the other person because you get to be out lunching and brunching.
Right.
And I'm at work from 9 to 5 and I'm tired and you like hanging out with your friends in real estate.
Right.
Like
it's spending all the money.
It is working. But I think staying on the same page matters. So that's great advice. I feel like we could talk to the birds all day and we do.
Yeah. We do.
We spend time with them. And so we're lucky enough to spend time with the birds. Unfortunately, you guys aren't, but you should.
Oh, damn.
I'm just kidding.
You guys can hang out with us too.
So basic.
Well, you guys got to come to the Marriage and Real Estate Conference.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing the Marriage and Real Estate Conference later on this year.
Hey, we're there already.
There we go. Right. So like, subscribe,
share.
Smash that like button, share. I'm trying.
Don't be basic.
I'm learning.
So corny with it.
Don't be basic.
Don't be basic and subscribe to the podcast.
All right.
Hashtag Anna Delvey. Thank you, Burge, for joining us today.
Shout out, Anna.
Maybe she'll pick up the podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We look forward to you joining us again because we do repeat guests, and we probably have some like real questions for y'all. But this time we got to chop it up with our friends, and you guys got to join in.
And we're gonna grow up. We're gonna have like guest gifts and stuff at some point. We're gonna get our podcast life together. We spend all our time actually doing real estate, so it's hard to make that transition.
No worries.
All right, this has been the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us again. Kevin's out.
Thank you.
Bye.